seconds, and it'll be 2 o'clock.
I want to get a notice for tardiness.
Oh.
Mr. Chairman, you're live.
We stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You stand for for a couple minutes to honor Ed Hellauer, who passed away last week. Board member for over probably 30 years, 33 years, and a guy that came to every single meeting, practically every meeting, and had a lot of great things to say.
You did. Could I add to that, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Into my heart's treasury I slipped a coin that time cannot take, nor a thief purloin. Oh, better than the minting of a gold crown king is a safe-kept memory of a lovely thing. Ed Hellauer is that coin.
Item 2A, WPC organizational chart. Ernie, so part of the organizational chart is there's got to be an election of a chairman and a vice chairman every 2 years. We missed the election because of the passing of the guard with Tom Sim to Ernie. It was 2017 was the last time we were supposed to do it, and then 2019, which we missed. So this being 2021, we need to select a chairman and a vice chairman. Does anybody want to put a nomination? Anyone want to put nomination on the floor for chairman?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to nominate Michael DeAngelis as our chairman, based on his 32 years of previous experience. And now that we have a majority of the members of the board are new, I think we're going to need his expertise.
I'll second that motion.
We just got, before we second, we have to ask, are there any more, is there anybody else that wants to put their name up for the chairman of the WPCA?
Make a motion that the nominations be closed.
Second.
Motion to close the nominations. All in favor, Chair, of electing, are you okay?
No.
Electing me, Michael DeAngelis, as the chairman?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody in favor? Anybody opposed? Nobody opposed, thank you, appreciate it. I want to thank you guys after all the 32 years of having the trust in me. We've had a huge changeover in the years, over the years, with passing of Tom Sim, Steve Morse, Benny Petrowski, you can go on and on and on. And so far, I've watched a lot of these good people come through this WPCA, and I'm watching some new people come through the WPCA that I'm excited about. All I ask is for your continued commitment, new guys, continued commitment to this board. This board is made up of people that need to be dedicated and passionate. I'm dedicated and passionate, and I need your help because this board is very technical. As I was telling Don earlier, that you know what? No disrespect to any other commission, the Board of Education, Trails Committee, P&Z. This board is one of the boards that you need to be very technical and you need to be very anal, because I'm anal. That's why my wife tells me that all the time, and my kids. And I need help keeping this board moving forward because we got a lot of work ahead of us. There's a lot of work in P&Z. And coming to the WPCA might sound like an easy job, but it's a challenge. And I need the challenge from the newer guys. I need the challenge from Eugene, who's sitting there behind the Zoom call. I need from Joe. Okay. So I want to thank you guys, and please help me because my job as the chairman is to feed you guys the information give you my best thoughts on what I think should happen, and then you guys make the decision. I am not gonna call you on the phone and say, hey, we need to do this, hey, we need to vote for that. I expect you guys are gonna make intelligent decisions based on what you know and the information you're given by me. And that's my sole job, is to give you the information. If you notice, I don't vote a lot. I sit back and I listen and I let you guys vote. I only vote if I have to break a tie, and I only vote on PDDs, which you guys all know I don't like PDDs, so I vote no on PDDs. But that's the only time I ever vote no. I let you guys make the decision. I'm not the decision maker. I'm feeding you guys the information to make an intelligent decision of all the information that I've got over 32 years. With that, is there any nomination on the floor for vice chairman?
Chairman, I'd like to put a nomination for vice chairman of William Miko. This is a excellent choice in my estimation, because Bill has many, I don't know if he has 30 like you, but he has many years in the construction industry, and that certainly ties in with our commission, especially now with all the development. So I proudly put his name into a nomination.
Are there any other nominations on the floor for vice chairman?
I'd like to move that nominations be closed.
Second.
Move to close the nominations? Nobody else is up on the floor? Gonna move?
Yes, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, let's, vote closing the nomination. Let's, Bill, let's make a nomination to nominate Bill for the chair, vice chair. Correct?
Yes, I made the nomination.
All right, nomination by Don, seconded by Joe. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
New business, Bridgeport Avenue, cured-in-place pipelining. This is what this meeting is really about. Some of this other stuff is kind of like on here because I guess we needed to get some of this stuff done, which is fine. Bridgeport Avenue, cured-in-place pipe, you guys, Ernie, you want to take over on this one?
Sure.
Can you guys introduce yourself, please?
Sure, I'm, use the mic at the stands, Ken, please. The man going to the stand is Ken Tassar. He is contracted by the city to do the sewer maintenance at this time. And he is here with his cohort from the owner of Granite Construction, who does the lining. So in concert, these two young men are going to be a presentation for what Bridgeport Avenue needs.
Oh, good.
And the ledger that you have in front of you shows two sections of the pipeline. The first one is from Platte Road down to Sunwood, and the second section is from Sunwood all the way down to John Street. And that basically what the city would like, well, I wouldn't say the city right now, but the Wpca would like the Wpca to do is now is the fact that this distance from Platte Street down to John Street be lined at this time because of the federal stimulus money that is allocated to us. So on that note, kind of start present how they would go about this.
So we conducted a TV inspection for Ernie.
Ken, Mike, please. Thank you.
We conducted a TV inspection for Ernie back in February, based on some evaluation we did after the TV inspection. It was noted the pipe wasn't really, it was corroded in many sections down through the entire length down to John. The reinforcement rod in the pipe was exposed. We didn't do any cleaning on it at the time because we were afraid if we had done some cleaning, we may actually cause a failure of the pipe at the very top. It's in that bad shape. So based on what we had seen, Ernie asked us to put a recommendation together. We got with Granite, put a recommendation together. We would line from Platte all the way down to John, and including the very top section that crosses over at, everything was going to be set up at the top of Bridgeport Avenue. And we've given Ernie a couple of scenarios as far as lining goes, and I think he shared that with you guys as well.
What are the breaks in the red lines? What does that indicate?
Those are sections that were not, this is the second time we videoed this. said, actually, the video back, I think, in 2015-16 timeframe.
Yeah.
And, back in 15 and 16, the breaks indicate they were not, videoed, or,
These sections weren't videoed?
were not videoed, but they were videoed in 2021, just to let you know. They are all now. The system reflects the status as of 2016.
And what is the status?
The status is, the black line is actually showing the pipe, the circles with the exit
Yeah.
are manholes. When it's orange, that's an indication, our system is Infonet, by the way, that we use, indicates that was TV'd and videotaped at some point. In the case where it's videotaped twice, it would show it twice in our system. And, the first, map 1 of 2, page 1 of 2 rather, starting point is flat and, goes all the way down like you see. I indicate a little match line there for house number 299 to the second map. And, there might have been a reason why they didn't videotape that. I don't remember off the top of my head, those sections that are blanked out. Any other questions on the map?
And just as another point of reference, the section above this and the section below this has been lined. This is in between two pieces that have already previously been lined.
Yeah, the section below it, which is from,
John
the ice cream shop, John Street, was lined in 2008. And the section above this, which is the section right in front of the Big Y complex, starting at Blanchette's and going across to a Big Y, was lined in 2015. 15. Okay, we don't show you that on a map. Okay, we don't show either of those sections here, so we're focusing on what we want to do.
Joe, you had a question?
Yeah, this is just a point of being literally brand new. Could you explain to me what lining
Okay.
is, please?
Well,
let's
yeah,
go.
yeah.
Here's the expert
We got it right here.
We got the right here.
How you doing? My name's Nate Holmes with Granite Inliner. Been working with Kenny for the past 25 years. It's been a good team, so looking forward to hopefully working for you folks. As you said, we're talking about lining from flat down to John Street, and we're using a cured-in-place liner. And basically what it is, it's a needle felt tube that we impregnate with resin. And it's this is a plastic coating. Resin needle felt inside here, cut it inside and out. Now you got the resin that's getting shot down by air, and then we're curing it with steam.
Okay.
So it's been around for a long time. It's a good process, and it's pretty good, effective for a typical day, be a 12-hour day, 10, 12-hour day.
I don't want to ask you to come to the next meeting, but can you send us some information, some handouts for these guys that don't, or do you have something on hand? Oh, perfect.
Thank you.
I got some tours from PR. I got about our company and what we do.
Thank you.
Anybody else like one?
I don't need one, thank you.
Henry Moore.
Thank you.
I'm gonna put a couple right here. I'm not gonna need them. I did a detail.
Yeah, while you're in, just one of the thoughts would be, could you explain, does the wall thickness on the liner stay consistent no matter what size the pipe is? In other words, if it's 15-inch, because we're varying from 15 up to 24.
That's a good question.
Does it stay constant, or is it, and could you tell us what that thickness
It
is?
is, I think the 15-inch is, 6 or 7.5 mil. The 18-inch, I believe it is 9 mil, and the 21-inch might be 10 mil. And we have some 24?
Yeah.
I think that's 10.5. But what we do is we do a design, that shows all the calculations with the safety factor, the ground loading. You know, we'll do it fully deteriorated, obviously, because it's pipe's condition, with groundwater at the top. So that design will get a PE stamp, so he'll go through all the information. One of the things I got here is, I got a schedule. It's got all our bypass information. It's got a takeoff on it, which shows what some of the depth that we've already recorded. So we've done quite a bit of due diligence here, preparing a quote for you folks.
All right, so I'm gonna ask a question out of you while you're handing these out. Pete and Ernie, where's Big Y on here? This goes down.
Big Y is not shown.
Flat,
See where it says start, Michael? See where it says start on the bottom of page 1?
Start on the
Yeah,
bottom.
Big Y
Yeah,
on the left side, off the map.
Right.
further down.
Oh,
That road coming down is Nels Rock
oh, I
Road.
see Nels Rock, yeah, okay, I got it, okay.
Yeah, Nels Rock and Fletch.
But doesn't this go down to Nels Rock, doesn't this go down in front of Big Y?
No.
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 I thought you said it did.
It starts at the intersection, Platt, Nels Rock,
Yeah, okay.
Platt, and it starts on Bridgeport Avenue going,
So this comes all the way down into town
east.
practically.
Yes, it goes right down to roughly where the ice cream shop is.
That's not including these though, that's just
No,
the
just
yellow?
everything that, I'm sorry,
Just yellow.
I left out the most important part. Everything
Yellow,
that's in
yellow
yellow,
highlight.
with the exception of the fact that I pointed out Sunwood Drive in yellow, that's not, lining. Everything else is to be lined, it's yellow, okay?
And how many total feet is this?
When you off the top of my head, Kenny, you know?
Well, you're charging us by the foot, so you should know.
I should know. I got all the information here.
It's like $5,000.
Well, that varies too, right, with the size of the pipe, right?
Of course, pricing, yes, sir.
7,500.
700 feet.
7,500.
Boy, I got glasses on, I can't read
I
that.
have it on my charts that I sent you.
Good question, I wish I had it right off the top of my
So
head.
just for you guys that don't understand, John, I don't know, or Joe, RCP is round concrete pipe, so we're lining concrete pipe,
Reinforced concrete.
reinforced concrete. I say round, it's reinforced. It's round.
Round in.
Round and reinforced.
No, I understand. We do it with burial vaults.
Now the imperfections of the pipe, the coating just coats whatever imperfections are there due to loss of the concrete substance due to, I guess, the acid eating away and so forth,
This
correct?
would be a structural, in itself would be a structural repair. So if the pipe completely deteriorated later on in life,
Oh,
this would take the place of that.
so it fills the voids then, is that what you're saying? I mean, what I'm saying is, let's say a 12-inch, 15-inch pipe. If you lost a half-inch concrete on the top, does it make a perfect 15-inch finished?
For the most part, yeah. I mean, if
So
you
it
would,
will fill the voids then with the residue?
it fills out to the.
Okay.
Yeah, our pipe stands from 10 to 15%, depending on what it needs to stretch to get
Okay.
its desired.
One important note we left out here, we have pictures, you can come up and see them, Bill, if you want. This particular pipe, when they put it in back in 1966, all right, it was reinforced concrete pipe, but it was lined with like an undercoating. We can see that on the videos. The undercoating was the first thing to fall off. I guess they thought they would elongate the time span for this thing to last. And we have this happening here on the River Road, where this tar
It was a tar finish inside the pipe.
inside the pipe, it's
Right.
actually literally falling
Oh,
down
okay.
and showing up at the plant, I might add, according to Garrett.
Yeah, so it's delaminating from the concrete itself.
Yes.
Right.
It's a fairly common, we were actually doing the same thing for the town of Darien and West Warwick, we've done some work down there, same exact scenario. It's just a situation with the pump station, the hydrogen sulfide and the concrete, not a good mix.
you have any more questions for them?
So what are you charging a foot? What are you guys at a foot now? So what's the show?
No, we're not talking price.
Huh?
We're not gonna talk price in this meeting. This is,
Okay, well, let me ask you the question. I'm gonna respect that comment. So how are these guys making a decision to go ahead and approve an emergency repair without knowing what the value is?
that's not gonna happen.
Okay, I'm respecting.
After the meeting, we'll talk if we
Okay.
can.
All right.
Is there any further questions?
How long is the expected, lifespan of this? 50?
Designed for 50 years.
We'll be going.
Yeah.
I might still see it.
Not me, no.
The oldest one in town is, 2005. There's one spot we got to that was made in 2005, and it's held up pretty good when we re-TV'd it, 15 years later, 10 years later.
Any other questions for me or Ken?
I'm good. Thank you, no.
So where are you doing the bypasses then? How many
7 different bypass
7?
do the work. That's how we have it planned as of right now.
Okay. And what time of the day is this work being done?
7 to 7.
7 to 7? So they're above ground bypasses?
You're correct. Right. Well, for the most part, there will be some barriers. A couple sections.
There will be? Why is that?
Across the road, across the
Oh,
road.
right, of course, okay.
Driveways and so on, yeah.
And then how long before you take them, when you're done with them, how long before you remove them immediately? How, curing time is, once they're steam cured, pretty much they reach strength and 95% strength in the day?
Yes, sir, we start at 7 o'clock, we'll have our line room by 9. We'll have it, up to temperature, we'll hold it for a couple, 2 to 3 hours, depending on what we want. So by 3 or 4 o'clock, we're cutting the ends and cutting the laterals, post-deviant.
Okay. And then, does it take anything that, they're obviously flexible fire hose is almost the bypass, what's the size of the line, the bypass?
6-inch hard pipe.
6-inch hard pipe?
Yes, sir, 6-inch pump.
I remember two, go ahead.
Is the bypass pump is gonna be above grade or below grade?
Above grade.
Huh?
The pumps are all above grade, yeah.
Yeah, the pumps are, yeah, but as far as the pipeline.
Yeah. Now, I remember you guys might, because I work in Stanford, going down the Parkway 2 years ago when there was a water shortage, Stanford Reservoir was feeding the Greenwich reservoirs, and you see running down the Merritt Parkway, all these lines feeding into the Greenwich. So it's pretty interesting that, I'm thinking, wow, I mean, can you imagine that they're actually doing bypass, I'm gonna call it a bypass, pretty much what you guys are doing. Bypasses to feed these reservoirs nowadays because, you know, and then you're doing obviously the same thing in a lot of ways, you know, it's just.
You said they're gonna go back and cut, is that gonna be LCR too, the top hats on each?
No, sir, we're just gonna open up the building and the home laterals.
Okay,
We figured the urgency of getting the line done first. We can always come back and do
LCR,
something, you know, whether it's grouting or whatever. A lot of that stuff can be done without bypassing. We had to learn much, or with some flow, so.
E-Quicks will be sealed, on the ceiling right behind Nate.
So as soon as it gets approved, when are you starting? What's your schedule? I see we're on the schedule already.
It's almost done.
You did some, exactly, you did some already.
I think when we first got the call, it was probably in the beginning of April, so that's how we started the schedule, so. So obviously, if Kenny gives us the contract, we could be in here in June.
Okay. June, that late, huh?
and you'll provide us with the PACP format
Yes, sir.
for my upload into, Infonet?
You know, we definitely talk exactly what you want, make sure, we give you a video, make sure what we have is compatible and perfect, if not, we can get it adjusted on our end.
And you'll be re-videoing before and then after, right?
Yes, sir.
We'll be doing the initial
Video,
okay, and then he'll do his final once the line is solved.
Is it, I mean, I'm sure it's impossible to do this, but how dire is it? Like you said, June, that seems like a while from me, it seems like a while from now. Like, what's you guys have the probability around how urgent this is?
Well, I can go through the process, I mean, we can't start till we get an agreement, so.
No, I'm less concerned about the legal side, I'm just more curious, my own curiosity, like, how
Okay,
critical
yes,
pipe.
Obviously, we have an agreement, so then we gotta go, Kenny's gotta TV it to make sure it's lineable.
We'll be in before, so we may even be in as soon as middle of May to do some pre.
Yeah, and I'm less concerned about the process, my question is more like, how sensitive is something like, it's really something you have to do like right away versus you can't wait 6 months, right?
Nobody knows, that's the problem, you know, it could fail tomorrow, it could have another 8 months left into it. It's at that point where it's just,
That's what
I guess for Ernie to sleep at night, it would feel much better to have it done yesterday.
Yeah.
you know?
Get that right, about a month ago. If there's no other questions for them, I'm gonna ask the chairman to move on to the next, topic and let these gentlemen, go. But just so you know, we, as the board and the city needs to talk to the chairman and the commissioners. That's the only reason I'm saying that we can't talk shop right now, okay?
Would anybody like my business card in case there's?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
No, not this project, any project, obviously, we'd love to build a relationship with you folks. with this project and any other project you get in the future. Thank you. Thank you.
Bill can use you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Well, my uncle's in suitcases, have they? N.D. Camillo and Sons.
Camille? Oh,
N.D. Camillo and Sons,
oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Big guy in Bridgeport.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to item 4A.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very, very much.
They all lived on the beach in Stratford.
RFQ 4127, professional on-call wastewater services. So everybody got their package back a couple months ago.
Just in case you guys need. Well, I don't have copies for everybody, it's just, there's one set of Joe hasn't seen them. They haven't seen them, yeah.
I haven't seen that.
I need these for
You can have a
our
back.
office. This, here, whatever you want, but you have the lowdown on the 4 times. That's kind of really all you need is right there.
Okay,
Well,
that's fine.
wait a minute, you're supposed to know what one that tells you what about, these guys, right here. This is a summary of them.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Sorry, Mr.
No,
Chairman.
sorry about that.
So we have 4 people here. I would recommend that we narrow it down now. I mean, I looked at these several months ago, and I kind of have, again, I'm gonna let you guys make the decision. I don't make decisions for you guys. You guys can have to, we'll talk about them, but I would recommend we knock it down to 3 people and then have interviews. Is there anybody that wants to make a decision today? Do you want to look at it? And what we'll do next month is we can be ready to knock this down to 3 people, or do you want to knock it down to 3 people right now? Based on really not knowing too much. First of all, there's one that I would definitely throw out, and for me, it's the easy one.
Right.
Huh?
Yes, definitely.
Oh, yeah, I didn't say who it was yet.
I know who it is.
Let's all say at the same time.
It's B&D Engineers out of Woodbury, New York.
Right.
If we're going to choose somebody, we're going to choose somebody from the state of Connecticut.
Well, at least have an office instead.
That's correct. So when I read D&B Engineers, I'm thinking, wait a minute. The request for qualifications, if you read it, said there should be an in-state engineer. And how did this guy, well, you can't. So for me, I'm eliminating him right off the bat only because he's an out-of-state engineer. Now, I'm not telling you that he's not qualified, but he's from Woodbury, New York, so let's make this easy. In my opinion, let's eliminate D&B Engineers, and then we can call the 3 people and have them, and we can have interviews, 1 hour apiece.
Too long,
What's that?
too long.
Well, what we do is we do 45 minutes, we give us 15 minutes in between. So 45 minutes and then us 15. So I say 1 hour because it's just easier to, instead of ramming everybody, it's not going to be a lot of people in and out the door, we basically call it a 45-minute meet and greet, and then 15 minutes for the next group to come in. So that's basically how we do it. Is that acceptable? Is that all right? So, anybody want to make a motion, or we don't know we have to make motions, but does anybody want to eliminate D&B Engineers?
Yeah, I make a motion that we eliminate the engineers. Second. For the interview process.
That was by Bill.
Motion by Bill
Second
to eliminate D&B Engineers, seconded by Steve Chuck, I believe. Is there any further discussion on eliminating D&B Engineers? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the next question, was that an aye, Eugene?
That was an aye. Yep.
Thank you.
So, was that all approved, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so then the next question is, when do we want to have these? I would prefer we can do them at 4 o'clock. We can do a special meeting, or we can do them at our regular meeting.
Do you think you can go down to 2? I mean, the second one down on the, 4A there?
Second one down on 4A.
Yeah, on the on-call. this sheet of paper.
Yeah, environmental partners.
They got 4 people in Connecticut, in Middleton, just 4. You know,
What page was that, Ernie, just so?
that's, the second one that says RA 4127.
Okay, there it is.
All wastewater.
You got it, Mike? If not, I
Yeah,
got
I see it, I got it on the top here.
The only other reason is that they were doing stuff for the city on stormwater now, and I'm just wondering if they're just spread way too thin, to be able to address the needs of the WPCA on an on-call basis. That's
Well,
my
okay, I'm
thing.
gonna, okay, are you done?
So, I'm sorry, Dennis.
It's okay, no, I didn't want to cut you off, go ahead.
No, because, you know right along, on a daily basis, I sometimes collectively, between the chair and myself, we have to call the engineers. And, it's, honestly, it's for the board to make a decision. When seeing a staff of 4, I just don't think they could meet the needs of the city.
Where do you see a staff for?
Well, it's just what, I read.
Oh, on
Somebody-
that, well, I'm looking
somebody-
looking at their,
Somebody made this up, I don't know.
Yeah, they have.
Did you make this up, Ernie?
They have 75 employees throughout 4 offices. They are admitting that they're gonna hire more people. But let me just step out of it and leave it to the board to make a decision.
so here's my comment on that. My comment is, and everybody has seen it who sat on the board, that they come in here with a whole group of people, and I'll tell you, my company's been guilty of it too. We go to an interview, and you're gonna have Mike DeAngelis as your senior project manager, you're gonna have Bill as your site superintendent, you're gonna have Betsy as your accountant, and you're gonna have Joe as your, in case anybody dies in the job, he's gonna make sure you get buried correctly. And then you get up, you do this big rah, and then when it comes to doing the job, it's like, where is everybody?
Right.
What happened to Joe? We need somebody in case they die on the job. So I don't necessarily, again, my personal opinion, I don't necessarily think eliminating somebody because they have 4 people, which I hear you, eliminating 4, and going down to 2, should eliminate anybody unless nobody wants to sit around for three interviews. If you don't want to sit around for 3 interviews, I get that, but I have a tendency to make sure I know, and I've done obviously research, and I know these guys being in the industry, so I know everybody. I didn't know this guy here, so I know who's, and I've never actually, environmental partners, I never heard of them recently.
No, they're good people, and don't get me wrong. Like I said, they work for the city now.
They are working here in the city, doing what?
Doing the storm and the MS4 stuff. So, hence the point, if they're on MS4 stuff with the city, and they do that for multiple cities, and it's best that the board does the interview. You guys interview the 3 remaining, and just we'll leave it at that if you care for it.
You guys can make the decision.
Does, the amount of years in business mean anything? One company's over 100 years, and does that mean anything?
After a while, generations pass,
Right.
and, it's...
It's just something to brag about, that they've been in business for 100 years.
It's all it is, and
Doesn't mean that they're any better than the next group.
And when we did this 10 years ago, the least likely person got the nod, and that was Fuss O'Neill. The least likely person, and he turned out to be an awesome engineer. So, I never would have expected that, but, so by the way, I did, and I don't have it with me, because I gotta find it. I have like a 2-page thing that you check off, and I want this to be totally unbiased. I want you to listen to what they're saying. I'm gonna ask you some questions. They're simple checks, yes or no, or whatever. And then I add up, or points, I give it points, and then I add up the points when you get to the bottom, who has 10 points or who has 15 points, and that's how I like to do it. Now, it worked out very well last time, but I think if you want to do it that way. So let's go back to the idea of what Ernie's saying about environmental partners. Is there an idea to keep them, or should we just knock it down to 2?
I say we keep them, get it down to 3 people, interview them, let them prove us wrong.
3 people.
I agree to get rid of, the out-of-state contractors and You know, they don't even have anyone here in Connecticut. Get it down to 3 people, 3 contenders. That's kind of always my rule of thumb when I'm looking at subcontractors. And like you said, sometimes the underdog coming in ends up being the superstar. So, in my opinion, I think getting it down to 3 is good.
I agree, 100%, but so we got one agreed. Is anybody else?
I agree, 3.
I agree.
3 scored.
All right, so let's keep 3. Thank you, Eugene. Let's keep 3 and make the decision when we're gonna do this. Does anybody want to have a special meeting, or do we want to take this up during our regular meeting? Any ideas?
How much business are we going to have in the next regular meeting?
At the present time, you have, an old, you're gonna have Petromont Place to review, for old business. You got a couple things on the board coming up. I don't think it's the appropriate thing to have it with your regular meeting.
I don't either.
It should be solely for those interviews.
I agree, but and I'm not gonna tell you why, but there was a reason I want to do it during the regular meeting, but it doesn't matter why I want to do it that way, but if we're gonna have a special meeting, let's make sure it works for everybody.
Yeah, my only thing is just if we do a special meeting, like, I can miss a couple hours of work, or miss an hour of work, but I can't, I work, so I can't miss 3 hours.
Oh, you work for a living?
Why would you do that?
Tell me about it.
All right, so so starting with you and Steve, what's the best time for you guys?
4:30, like we were doing before this.
Is 4:30 after
Yeah,
4:30?
4:30, like, I don't mind doing a special meeting or however you want to do it, I just rather do it at 4.
John, it's how we want to do it. Let's open a new leaf here
Mike,
it's how we want to do it.
would this be in April or May?
I'd like to have it done by the May meeting,
Before the May meeting.
before the May meeting.
All right, so anytime between now and, say, the second week of, May,
Yeah.
special meeting, before the regular
The
meeting.
other thing you gotta consider is at City Hall, the doors get locked at 6.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but 4:30, we've been having it at 4:30,
Yeah.
because they don't open, we can't get to the 7 o'clock again yet.
You'll be fine on time. You'll be fine on time.
45 minutes?
Cut them down to half-hour, 3 times.
I mean, you've been through this before, correct?
Yes.
Was it 10 years ago with Fuss and O'Neill?
Yeah,
Did you spend that 45 minutes?
absolutely,
Oh, you did?
absolutely.
Questions?
We had to
Oh,
cut
were you there too, Pete?
I was there, yeah.
Oh, okay.
we had to cut them off.
Oh,
We had to cut
okay.
people, sorry, and I was like this.
Okay,
And I would tell people, you got 3 minutes, you got 3 minutes.
okay,
You know.
okay.
And the one that's up first, you should almost make it random out of the hat, pull them out of the hat, because the one that's up first, he gets a freebie, okay, because that generates knowledge. The second one, you start
Okay,
with questions,
this is
the third
right.
one gets more questions.
Right,
It's a compounding
Right.
type of situation. So, Ernie,
Oh, they should be
him and a half.
with all the other parties being present.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta keep them out, these other parties out of the room.
We
Right.
did
Yeah.
it in 104.
No, what I'm saying, Ernie, the first one, there's not a lot of questions by this board.
Right.
That builds knowledge. The second one, now there's more questions.
Yeah,
That second guy, and, the third guy gets even more questions.
Was that an insult to the commissioners of this board?
No.
At all? He's trying to insult us, so we have to.
I already figured that part out, John.
No, it is a good point, you know, you're
Because
kind of.
remember, the last one, that was when you said, you got 30 seconds, and I think they left the whole segment out. Well, I mean,
What day is good for you, gentlemen? Eugene, can you pipe in here?
Well,
depends on what time you do it. And what day.
For me, if we're doing it at 4 or 4:30, any day but Tuesday.
Okay.
so if we did it, so we would have to do it at 3, so we're out of here by 6.
I can keep City Hall open for longer than 6.
You can?
Yes. Yes, if
So that's-
something this
that's-
important, yes.
Well, that's good then, because that helps Steve.
Good, so we don't have to,
Keep it at 4:30.
So let's keep it at 4:30.
Yes, that's perfect.
Today, we're gonna keep it at 4:30. Today is the 21st,
Our meeting is scheduled for the 12th.
and our meeting is the 12th.
in May, the 12th?
Yep.
Yes.
So I would recommend maybe the first week in May. I like Fridays.
No, not that.
No? Well, at the end of the day, you're right. How about Thursday the 6th?
May sixth, I'm open.
or Wednesday the 5th at 4:30, Wednesday or the 5th or 6th?
Guys that are working,
This is good for me.
Well, I'm asking at 4:30.
I could do either one of those days.
Eugene,
The 5th or 6th works for me.
5th or 6th?
Either day is okay with me, as long as the time is, say, 4:30 to 6:30.
We're gonna keep it 4:30.
That's fine, yeah,
Okay,
4:30 is
listen,
fine.
don't vote on it, I need 3 minutes to check with the town clerk, okay?
Oh, if they had this room taken?
Let me make sure the room's not taken tonight. If you, Mr. Chairman, if you could continue, I'll be right back.
Well, we're gonna wait for you. You might make a difference.
Does it make sense though, I mean, my only, comment is like, I don't really find the years of business or any of this stuff really all that interesting. I mean, I read through all the proposals, but is there like a way to get, since we're new, maybe like, hey, what's working well and currently not working well with the current, contractor?
The current engineer?
Yeah, because I think like, I don't wanna.
Well, you're asking me the wrong question.
No, I mean, I get, but you know, I just wanna understand, like, you know, we don't work with them as much as you or Ernie does, so there's some value in understanding, like, I review RFPs for a living, right? And like you said, everyone comes in, they bait and switch, look how this glossy paper, I'm so smart, like, it's good, I think the Q&A will be helpful, but, like, I think, you know, our current engineer, I know he's going to another firm, like, I think he's really good from what I've seen, but I have no comparison, so it's just something that would be useful, but if it's not, you know, doable.
You know, here's how were you gonna say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Here's how, you know, the advantage I always have is being in the business. Now, I sat on the building committee with Steve's father for the intermediate school. And that was, I don't know, 15 years ago, I
Oh my
guess.
God, more than that.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever, 15, 18, 20.
The intermediate was before Perry Hill.
Yeah, because I was
Oh,
chairman.
Steve's father was the chairman.
Yeah.
And I remember the selection. Now, being in the business, I knew Turner, I knew O&G, I knew Fusco,
Oh, yeah.
and I remember who the fourth one was, maybe Pavarini.
Slam.
No, Slam's an architect.
Architect,
It was Pavarini, I think, or Gilbane. No, Gilbane.
Perry Hill.
Right.
So I had a huge advantage knowing who these guys were. And I have a smaller advantage knowing some of these engineering firms. I've never worked with them personally with the firm I'm with now, but I know who these guys are. You might, so it's harder for me to tell you guys what to look for. I'm only looking for who I know and who I know can do the job. Now for me, all three of those guys, O&G, Fusco, Turner could have done the job, and Pavarini could have done the job. No, there is no doubt about it. So it's just a matter of, okay, who did you like?
Exactly, because those are three top, or even with Gilbane too, four
Right,
top.
exactly. So
Companies
it's hard for me, John, unless anybody else has, and you said on building committees too, it's hard for me to tell you what's the proper way to evaluate these guys. Now, maybe Ernie can tell you what he likes or dislikes about Fuss and O'Neill. You know, but there's no.
Ernie missed the question.
I just got Mr. Chairman, if we could, just for the, May 6th, I reserved it from 4 to 7.
Sixth or fifth?
May 6th.
Thursday,
Sixth.
Thursday the 6th.
Okay, you said 5 before.
So it's 4, not 4:30.
Well, no.
It's gotta be-
That's reserved.
4:30 for your meeting, I reserved it at 4:30 to make sure somebody wasn't sitting in there on
4:30 to 6, or 7, whatever you need.
7.
Okay. You wanna ask Ernie?
Yeah, and I understand your point about evaluating.
I'm gonna go get the bathroom, be right back.
Ernie?
Yeah, thank you.
John has a question.
Well, I just, if you don't mind, John, 2 seconds, to make sure I put this in, otherwise I don't. So, how come it's?
John, I liked Fuss and O'Neill, but I wasn't crazy about Virgil. And
Yeah, but
Matt
seems.
Matt left Fuss and O'Neill, so
Right.
I don't wanna keep Fuss and O'Neill on a paid basis.
Right.
But that's, I don't know anything about these other guys at all, but I know he went with, Weston and Sampson.
John, I'm sorry.
That's your question again to him.
Yeah, so my question was for you, Don, Mike, you work with them, I mean, Don's been here longer, maybe not as much working with them day to day, but you work with these firms day to day. So I was saying, you know, this was the sheet was good, but I was like, what year they're founded, how many years in business, doesn't really matter much. Because I said, you know, whenever and I said, you know, I do this in my professional job, where like you're responding to RFPs and stuff, everything's glossy, they all sound great.
Right.
But it would just be useful, sort of, day to day to say, hey, you know what, we found, you know, we would really love more of this in a firm, or less of this, or we found this frustrating. We don't have to answer it right now.
No, I want to answer right now. I think that, you know, if I have to, I would like to reiterate it when the chairman gets here, but my experience in, I can repeat, will echo with this thing, but we had a great rapport with Matt Germain, who unfortunately went to Weston Sampson. And even to this day, believe it or not, even though he's not even been getting compensated, this young man has been stepping up and helping the city of Shelton time after time after time without getting compensated. Mr. Chairman, I was just responding to John's question of, you know, as far as if we've had, who our thoughts were on a day-to-day basis of who we possibly could like out of the board. And I was just complimenting Matt Germain that, you know, since my starting here over a year and a half ago, Matt has always been there. And even if he's in a meeting, I'll call the young man. That son of a gun will call as soon as he's out of that meeting to find out what we need. You know, I'm not finding that, unfortunately, at this time, I don't think the resources, you know, I mean, we don't have to consider, unfortunately, Fuss O'Neill at this point because he didn't throw his hat in the ring. I mean, it is a pleasure to work with Virgil and his staff, but I'm not getting the same level of stuff that we got from Matt Germain. I tell you that. Matt knows this city inside, outside, and backwards, and the chairman could attest to that too. I mean, 10 years of helping this city out. And that's really all I have to say. If on the other hand, if Ty and Bond uses, I believe, a sub, which is Joe Pereira.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you, tell him about that.
And Joe Pereira is top-notch, stellar individual. And I can't speak professionally about anyone else as far as Ty or Bond. I don't know of them. You know, as far as that's what you gentlemen are going to have to do in your interview, try to ascertain things. But like John also pointed out, you know, and the chairman pointed out, you know, these guys could come in and paint a frosty cake with you guys with cream and cherries on top, and it's not till you really find out the intricacies of these of their behaviors until after you are using them. And I think if I may throw this out and not telling you what to do, but maybe it just hit me, maybe we could put this on a contingency basis where there's a probationary period for the person that you elect, and that if they don't fall into, let's say, helping the needs of the city in the fashion that we're used to, that maybe you could go to an alternate at that time. I think if we drafted contracts in that fashion, that might help the board, i.e. the city, out. But,
Can I ask?
Go ahead.
I agree everything he said, by the way, with Matt's response. Michael, maybe I just want to confirm. I've been sitting in the chair since 2010, watching his predecessor. Believe it or not, Fuss and O'Neill, Ernie's predecessor, Thompson, Fuss and O'Neill, and even a company before that, I find that they spend more time with Garrett and Ed to some degree. Garrett is the guy in the trenches, though. And if I had to discuss a ratio with you, I would say it's like 70% with Garrett and 30% with us. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's
So
right.
we really should that question that you just asked should be directed at Garrett and Ed Camboni, because they were, even after you came, right, Ernie, Fuss and O'Neill was down the plant. I mean, 3 weeks in a row, 4 weeks in a row, right? Mike, how much did they contribute to the plant renovation we just did in the last 3 years, Fuss and O'Neill? A lot. Right?
Everything.
Everything. There you go. So, I mean, and Matt, I know, I don't want to speak for Garrett, but I think they were pretty happy, right, Michael?
Yeah, very much.
Performance of Matt. I mean,
Peter, on that note, Fussin' O'Neill has lost the top cream of their engineers.
Right.
And that, the board needs to know that. You don't even need to consider Fussin' O'Neill at this point, because they didn't throw their hat in the ring, so that's not even to entertain.
No, I mean, that answered my question. It was more, I didn't really care like them head to head. It's more kind of what were the attributes and things that you could improve or you liked.
The plant was a thing where, right, Michael, we were paying money to the state in penalties, and they turned that, that's the success story right there for this, by the way, this board, we turned that around to we're getting credits from the state now for our nitrogen credits going into this economy. So we're complying with DEEP and all the regulations and,
Lower electric bills.
lower electric, yeah, that was the other program, $400,000, right, Mike?
Yeah.
Not to mention the grease that was,
Yeah, never mind that to the point. But they were, that's a good point, though. Tom mentioned something. Fussin' O'Neill was also, very, helped us along with our FOG program, grease program. We started in 2010, we sort of like hit a low point, and they jumped in around 15 and 16 and started evaluating our tanks. And actually, when a restaurant comes into town now, we would run it by them to make sure the sizing on the tank was correct and the, the flow.
they did a great job on that.
Yeah. So, I mean, but really when you do this evaluation, I think, Garrett.
There will be, Ed and Garrett.
Maybe you can arrange for like a 20-minute thing to sit before the meeting with John and maybe Bill and the new guys, Joe, to have Garrett give his thoughts on what they did in the plant and how they interface.
Who's they?
Whoever you hire, the replacement for Fussin' O'Neill.
Right.
Okay, like in this case, it would be Matt's replacement to be hired.
I think most of the questions will come from the chairman with his 30-plus years of tenureship in the knowledge that he's, attained over these years, especially being the only engineer on the board. So,
Well, we're gonna have a questionnaire, right?
I have a questionnaire to try to help get through that, John, because it's.
I need that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to ask you to think about, and the thing I really liked about it, and Pete, or one of you guys said that you couldn't find it on the website. I found it on the State of Connecticut DEP website, and they tell you how to, and I built my questionnaire, or my matrix off of the DEP website. Now, you couldn't find it, but I don't know how, but anyway, I got to.
Well, your form would be great if you can email it to me.
Right, so what I'll do is but it gets you to think about a couple different things, and I had different titles. Here's like, did you like the guy that wore the tie today? Number 10, yeah, it's great. Did you like the girl that showed up today with her high heels? Yeah, she was, so it gets you to kind of like think and look at these guys in some way. It was hard to do. It took a long time to put together because I had to kind of like rethink it. And then I had a good relationship with the DEP, head of DEP back then, Bill Hogan. And I called Bill. We became pretty good friends. He was really accessible. Not that I can't still talk to this girl that's up there now, but she gave me advice. And now that I think about it, she actually sent me something also that they use up there. And it was like, whoa! It was like a light went off. This is it. And I'll be honest with you, I never thought in a million years that I would personally pick Fussin' O'Neill. And all I'm asking is that you guys pick an engineer. I can't say it the right way. Pick an engineer that you think is qualified.
Right.
I'll say it like that. Pick somebody that's qualified. Again,
You guys using your,
How do you narrow it down even?
what's that, Eugene? Come on, Steve, next.
no, I wanted to add in a few things. So these are all good points. Some things that I kind of do, just kind of relating this to more of the subcontractor world when I'm looking at people is, I agree with that fact where, they show up for the interview, it's the president, it's everybody in a suit, it's smoking mirrors. A lot of times I ask for the actual, project manager or point person that I'm going to be dealing with to be at that interview. So when we set these up with these guys, we go to the president of Ty and Bond and say, hey, yeah, I would love to see you there, but I want you to handpick who you plan on intending to assign as a point person and bring them with you, and then we can get a little more personal behind the robotic, questions of their proposal and really kind of talk to that person. I always found that to be helpful. Another thing, and I think this may already be kind of captured on your that checklist you have, but I think as a group here, we can kind of put together I call it like a lessons learned list. You know, what are things that we've struggled with consultants in the past? Where have they lacked, or and vice versa, where were they really strong that we need again? You know, and then also kind of turning a point of that interview to them, to let them talk, walk them through scenarios that they've helped cities get through in the past. You know what I mean? Kind of all these things kind of help get more personal during the interview with them, rather than them just walking through the robotic, yeah, I've been in business for 100 years. Yeah, we have 70 people on staff. Yeah, we do this. You know what I mean? It's all, that's all information we already know that we saw in the proposal, but doing things like this kind of helps peel back the layers, you know, calling bullshit where we can call bullshit, you know, it really helps see who they are if you know, kind of ask for some of these things during the interview.
Yep. All right, so I'll...
Excuse my language, sorry.
Yep, did you want to say something, Steve?
No, you actually meant the most qualified. It could all be qualified.
They can all be qualified.
But you consider it, would you tilt toward one or the other?
Well, so when we did Fuss and O'Neill 10, 11 years ago, so I added up all the numbers in the bottom, and I gave everybody, like you graded them, everybody graded them. So I took everybody's, and I put it on a spreadsheet, and I said, okay, here's John's numbers, here's Steve's numbers, here's Bill's numbers. And then I added them up, and when you get to the end, Fuss and O'Neill, I'm not going to say won it, but Fuss and O'Neill, hands down, most everybody. And Tom was a little bit mad because Tom was trying to push somebody else. Tom, I gave him an opinion, just like we'll give Ernie an opinion when we go. I said, Tom, I hate to tell you, but your vote doesn't count, buddy. Because... I gotta start shutting my mouth.
Well, there's no sense of having my opinion because I'm not on the board.
No, but it was good to hear Tom's opinion, but I knew where Tom's opinion was coming from, is what I'm trying to go to. I knew where Tom's opinion was coming from, and it didn't work out. And I let the board totally, here's all the results. And there's no hiding who the best one was, and it was Fuss and O'Neill. There's just no hiding it. So... And Virgil was...
It's all in the past anyway, so...
I know, I'm just telling...
The future.
Right, I agree. I'm just trying to tell you how it worked out. And it worked out that, in the end, when you came down to it, Fuss and O'Neill did the best job.
Oh.
You know, and so this is going to help you to find out of these three, who you, in these questions that were developed, were kind of to help you kind of look through the smoke and mirrors type of thing, like Eugene said.
Mr. Chairman, they're going along with John's and Eugene's and thoughts there. Can we look into other municipalities? Let's say these people, you guys do the interviews. And again, this is just like Eugene had mentioned about the smoke and mirrors, because, I mean, you know they're all going to come here, they're going to give a presentation, and they come look at local. You know, they're not going to come here and look like dead dogs. So after that thing, can we take the time, maybe call other municipalities that are using them, talk to the people that are, like in Ed Cavalli's shoes, my shoes, and find out how quick do they respond to a phone call, and how receptive are they, you know, to these questions. That when that's, to me, that's when you're down in the trenches, you need answers, and if those engineers are, you know, don't respond to you within days, weeks, or something like that, personally, I have no use for them. And no disrespect, but I have to deal with these people on a daily basis. For the most part, you folks deal with them on a monthly application for some submittal.
I've actually done that.
You know?
I've called all three firms before and got the feel for it.
Okay.
And matter of fact, it's kind of ironic in a way. Every once in a while, once every couple times a year, I got a call from Ansoni about 4 or 5 months ago about Fuss and O'Neill. They were hiring new engineers. And I got a call from somebody in, I don't remember now, East Granby or something like that, up by Higginham. So, you know, I think everybody stays in the same circle and finds out and talks to each other, find out what you think about Fuss and O'Neill. These are about Fuss and O'Neill because they were looking at the high.
So let me ask you something. It sounds like you're doing your homework. Now, how does the other commissioners and myself are going to ascertain this? So at the May 6th meeting, we listen to these interviews. At that point, do we collectively, make a phone call, maybe on a conference call, and ask another municipality? I mean, just a 5-minute phone call to another municipality's administrator, and I'll have it pre-set up, or how do you wanna work that?
The problem is, if we're ending at 7, who are we gonna reach at 7 o'clock?
No, I didn't say that day. You don't have to
Oh,
make
yeah,
a
we
decision
could,
that day.
yeah, why not? Sure, why not?
You know, in other words,
That's an administrative job, I think you should do that. There's no-
Okay,
that's only my opinion, but.
I can
You
get
know, how much,
that.
I'm gonna listen to the, I have no clue what's going on with these people.
I could actually get the minutes for that. I could have the minutes taken for that phone call. Let them, like I say, have it just for a 5-minute phone call. What do you guys think? How's this company been, how they working out for you?
You and I can, you know what, you and I can do it one day. I'll come up in the morning or in the afternoon, and you and I will make the phone calls. How's that?
Well, you've already made the phone calls, you said.
No, I have not.
Oh, I thought you said you called
No,
all
I've
those
done it in the past.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I did it last time.
I'm sorry, misunderstood.
It's okay.
All right, so that's fine, but I think all the commissioners need to be privy to.
Well, they have to say yes or no. You're gonna let us do it, or you wanna be involved. It's up to you guys.
I'm fine with you guys. I think, like, you answered all my questions. I think I more wanted just a framework of, you
I
have
understand.
good insight, you have good, seeing that sheet would be really helpful.
Yeah.
Just unbiased,
We've waited on that sheet for some time.
how do you evaluate that? And then I think from, just like a job, right? Just like you do a reference check. We all agree, we all agree on someone, just say, yeah, go for all the references, and that's sort of the final thing for me. I don't think we need to.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I don't remember who said it, I think it was Gene, but request the project manager that's gonna be working with us. be
Yeah,
present.
but that doesn't always work.
That was gonna say.
Why?
Because they may not have an assignment for one yet.
I'll tell you why it doesn't work. In a classic example, our firm was from Stanford, was interviewed, we have a New York office.
Yeah.
And they needed somebody with my background in MEPs. So they asked me to be in on the interview. It was a Zoom interview. So, and it was to do it at a school down in the Bronx, down past Yankee Stadium. Oh my God, I'm gonna go from Shelton to Bronx? I was in the interview, and they liked everybody. And I made a comment at the end about something. I said to the people, there were probably 7 or 8 of them on the interview, and I said, you know, you have a bunch of A+ personalities here. I said, when I tell my daughter to empty the garbage, and she says, in a minute, Dad, I said, no, not in a minute, I want it done now. And I kind of made the point that I'm anal, and all of our people on our team was anal. So long story short, so now we're busy in Stanford. I'm not going to the Bronx anymore. Somebody's already asked where am I? So they want me to sit on the Zoom meetings for now, just to show that I'm still in.
Yeah.
I'm not involved. I'm on the Zoom meeting for 1 hour, and then I go back and do my work in the Stanford office. And they're all kind of like, well, I haven't seen Mike in the site yet. I liked Mike. You know, he was your MEP guy. And so, well, not anymore. I'm not. So those kind of things, you can't. You know, Bill knows that. You can't count on them. Things change. Things happen.
Yeah.
Things happen. So that's
You guys,
why
you can hear, I got one more question. At what point does pricing get introduced into the equation? You know, are we going solely off performance, or, you know, does pricing get introduced at one point? You know, if I'm looking for a new car and Ford, BMW, and Bentley all send a qualification to me, you know, I'm gonna choose, you know, they're all 3 different price ranges.
Eugene, we could have them, during these interview, request that information to be brought to that interview.
Yeah.
Okay.
In general, and I looked at the numbers recently over the past 3 months, in general, Fuss and O'Neill has not raised their prices over the 10 years a lot at all. I think it was under 6%.
I don't know, Mr. Chairman, no disrespect, but I don't know why you keep bringing up Fuss and O'Neill. It's not even on the thing. It's irrelevant to
I'm talking about price increases,
I
okay?
understand, but it's irrelevant, because
Okay.
the 3...
I have the floor. Thank you very much for your comment. I won't talk about Fuss and O'Neill anymore, okay? Thank you. All right, so what do you guys want to do? Let's move on. It's getting late.
What do you want?
We're all set? We're all set? I will send out, Ernie and I will set up a time to have these interviews, on the 6th, starting at 4:30. I will get the matrix together. I'll sit down with Ernie and we'll go over the matrix, and then I'll send it out.
Now, at that point, should we send them, just like Eugene was touching on, should we request that they bring, pricing structure like the previous, RFQ? Okay. Request pricing.
Maybe maybe what we do then is tell these people that they've been selected, and then bring pricing with them ahead of time, or tell them ahead of time.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. So do we wanna give these guys any preference, who goes first, second, and third? Anybody care?
Well, I think Pete was, well, yeah,
Somebody's gonna lose out.
Should make it a random thing out of it.
right, I understand that, but,
We can do it right now if you want, Michael. I'll make up 3 sheets of paper.
yeah, make it random and then just, yeah.
Make our newest member pick it out. Who's got a hat?
I got a hat.
It may work out with how they cut here.
May work out what?
It may work out depending, someone could be later than, they may wanna come later, who knows?
That's a good point, Joe. That might be,
No, you don't give them an option.
Yeah.
Right? No,
you don't wanna give them an option.
Well, with chairman's and the commissioner's respect, I'm gonna state that, we want them here at, 4:15, not the first one, the next one at 5 o'clock, and the next one at, maybe 5:30, 4:45, or 5:45, to be in the hall. I want them over here, your conversation.
And inform them they have 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Mike?
My point is, I think there's gonna be plenty of time, nobody's gonna get you. And we say we got the floor to 7, we get out of here at 7:15 or something, so be it.
No, I agree. I'm not worried about time.
Yeah,
Don didn't like an hour, but I don't mind an hour, I don't care, but 45 minutes is more than enough.
I'm
We
sure-
did it in 45 minutes
Sure you
before.
could figure out who's who by that time.
Yeah, you can.
And you're gonna make some phone calls to the towns and everything to,
Ernie and I are gonna set up
We're
a
gonna
time
do
to
it,
sit
yeah.
down and meet,
That's
we'll
good,
make
yeah.
notes, and we'll share the notes with you guys.
that's
Well,
perfect.
I thought we were gonna do that after the interviews, because,
You wanna do it after you?
absolutely.
Okay, that's fine.
Because during the interviews, you guys might determine, well, look, I've got this narrowed down to 1, or 2. And then at that point, we'd say, well, okay, let's find out from these other, let's just say individual A, or company A. So we call the municipalities that they're working for and find out about, company A. And then,
Sheets of paper in there, Joe.
and then company B, let's say they work for different municipalities, we call them municipalities too and find out. Bill, do you have any thoughts on that?
All right, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, first one is Weston and Sampson. That's number 1. Steve, do the honors. There you go. What do you got?
Environmental partner.
Partners. And obviously,
Time bonds.
is first. Okay. So we got 1, 2, and 3.
Well, with your permission, and being all on the same page, hopefully, I'm gonna call these individuals after, we have time today, after we, adjourn this meeting, and let them know that they are on the agenda for May 6th, at the apropos. So you got, Weston and Sampson first, Environmental Partners is the second slot, and Ty and Bob will have the third slot. Is there any prerequisites that, Mr. Chairman or the commissioners want these individuals to bring? Are there any thoughts? Maybe you might not have them right now. Maybe you could rifle them off in an email and appropriately CC the chairman and all the other commissioners when you ask the question. Or, if something comes to mind overnight, if you're sleeping on it and say, Jesus, I didn't think of this now, but I'm thinking of it, at this time, and write down that question and send it to me, and I'll forward it on to,
What's the time we're giving each one?
45 minutes.
45 minutes.
15 minutes between to switch up people and.
Are we gonna allow them to do a video presentation?
No.
Yeah.
No. You mean the presentation?
Yeah, because then we gotta make sure we got screen.
We don't have this room. No. We have room 104.
So they don't have to bring their own equipment or anything.
So we're not doing any Zoom, this is not a Zoom meeting, this is just you folks. right, you know, one-on-one with these folks, that's all. Well, not anyone, the
So,
board.
Michael, you're gonna be able to send us that checklist that you used last time?
Yeah, yeah, I gotta find it, it's on,
Oh,
if not, I can call the state, the girl at the state that I know, and but I'll see if I can find it.
Hey, Mike,
Hey, Steve?
3 interviews on the 6th, but we're not narrowing it down to 1 on the 6th because you're gonna be calling municipalities
No.
afterwards, right?
Yeah.
So, talk
So
about
then
that
at some
at the
point-
regular meeting,
At the regular meeting, we'll put it on the agenda, okay,
May 6th,
Here's-
after May 6th.
and you're gonna give me you're gonna give me your papers, and I'm gonna add everybody up, and I'm gonna say, okay, here's the winner, or here's the guy that everybody thinks is the right person. And then we vote on it, and then,
But the prices we'll have at that May 6th meeting too, the interview.
yeah, because Ernie's gonna ask him for it. All right, and we will make a motion to adjourn, and then we're gonna talk about the price, I'm gonna assume. So anybody wanna make a motion to adjourn? Motion, John, to adjourn, seconded by Bill. All in favor? Anybody opposed? Okay, so what couldn't you tell us? Oh, sorry. If anybody wants to go May 7th to this workshop, I'm going to a wastewater treatment workshop up in